Good morning, YouTube. Scott Lett here, owner of Iron City Power Washing. I'm in downtown Birmingham and we're about to clean this office building here. Show you guys the new rig real quick. Pretty much just took the skid out of the Tundra and put it in here. I made some minor adjustments. I put my 12 volt system up there. There's my battery and switch. I could put the mini Mondo inside there. I can shut the tailgate now. 8 gallons still there. I have room for my 20-inch. Pretty much the same setup. I was able to space out my hose reels a little more. So, same exact skid setup, but now a different truck that can hold all the weight I needed to hold. So I'm pretty fired up about that. It just looks better. Anyways, so we're cleaning all of these sidewalks here. This entire building, soft washing the windows, all this concrete. And as I'm walking and talking with you guys, I'm going to be trying to find the water source, which is over here somewhere. Yeah, we're cleaning all the curbs, all the concrete, this drain. There's the water. Okay, and they gave me a code for it. It's going to be a very quick and easy job for us. I've got all 3 rigs coming. Should make for an easy, fast 4K on a Saturday. So, all right, I'm going to get my hoses pulled out and get the water hooked up and get to work. Let's go. All right, guys, the rest of the crew is here. My lead tech junior has already gotten a lot of these curbs done. Gotten that done. Now he's cleaning this drain here. There's the business partner.
Reporting live here on Facebook. What's up, YouTube? Scott Lett here, owner of Iron City Power Washing. Before we jump into our discussion today. I just want to apologize for the lack of content. Man, life happens and it happens fast. I didn't realize it's been a while since I posted something. I've had a couple guys ask, "Hey man, like, what's going on? Are you still going to produce content?" And the answer is yes. I've just, one is really, it's busy season. Our commercial accounts have really amped up, along with all of our residential accounts. So we've been working some nights. I just bought a house. I'm in the process of selling our house. We're doing renovations at the new house. I've got 4 kids. So with all that being said, if you put all that into a big equation, that is the reason I just haven't had time to produce a whole lot of content. It's not that I don't want to. You just have to pick and choose, your battles and how to use your time. Okay. My wife was also sick for a couple weeks. We battled some illnesses. So with all that being said, I apologize. I haven't taken as many calls lately, again, due to the same reasons, but I have talked to some more seasoned guys, guys who've been in the industry about, 3 to, let's just say 3+ years. And I've been asked some interesting questions that I want to address. And they're good questions, It's questions I haven't really been asked a whole lot because, I'm usually talking about how to start a business, marketing plans, how to get to continuous work, how to plan for years to come, scaling a business. And let's talk about some of the other topics. This is for more of the seasoned, more veteran guys who are in the scaling phase, but I think it's still good for you newer guys to hear, I guess this topic. All right. Cause it's a topic that, you could really step on some toes with, I feel like, but it's your business and you run it how you want to. And I'm just going to give you guys my answers based on, experience, and just how I handle things. Okay. Let's see, one of my buddies over there, but, one of the questions is, do you fire clients? Like, and that's kind of an extreme way of putting things. Do you let clients go? And the answer to that is yes. Okay. And it's very justifiable reasons. I don't just get frustrated with a customer and say, "Hey, look, I can no longer work for you." Okay. There are some good reasons to let some, first-time customer go, a customer you've worked for a few times that has continuous issues, things that, because one thing you want to protect your time, and obviously you want to protect your profits. Okay. We started this business to spend more time with our family and to find financial freedom for our family as well. And those are the 2 things you really have to protect. Okay. And if people are getting in the way of those 2 things, you have to, either say, "Hey, look, like, you gotta be professional with how you handle it." But if someone's wasting your time, and then not really paying you on time, which is wasting more of your time, or they're complaining about your prices, or they're just nitpicky about stuff, and they just become a headache, year after year. And I will say this. I have some clients that I have kept in my book of business because they pay very well, but they are a huge pain to deal with. They're very, very nitpicky. They create problems because they're paying so much money and it's their way of kind of getting you back. Okay. People will do that, but I charged them so much in the beginning because I sensed that they were going to be a problem and a headache, but the amount of money I'm making off that headache justifies it. Okay. But, I've already told myself if these certain individuals get worse, I will probably let them go. Okay. And I'll just say, "Hey, look, I can no longer provide my services for you. and I will give them a very professional reason why. Okay. So some of the reasons why, let's talk about that, and I'm not a jerk. I'm not going to just say, oh, I can't stand this person. I don't like them. And that's not professional. The reasons are very justifiable. The reasons, are, in my mind, good reasons not to work for someone. Reason number one, someone who is really poor at communicating. They call you and they want an estimate. You try to line up a time to come meet them, give them an estimate, and they just go cold. All right. They come back 3 or 4 days later and, okay, yeah, I can come. You can come at this time. You send them an estimate. They don't respond to a week later, and this is just very poor communication, right? Which means when it comes to pay, they're probably going to be hard to deal with when it comes to getting paid, because people who are difficult in the beginning are going to be difficult during the job, and they're also going to be difficult at the end of the job. So if there's poor communication, or someone getting frustrated that I'm asking questions, someone getting frustrated that I'm asking for a payment, I will no longer work for them. Customers who can't pay on time, because I make it very clear, in the very beginning, that all residential jobs, you pay upon receipt. Okay, I send a receipt, an invoice, and they have 24 hours to make that payment. That's for residential. After 48 hours, there will be late fees, and I do add those late fees because I gave you a warning. And I have customers who, if you're a bad communicator for a new customer, and you pay well, then you fail to pay on time, I'm probably going to say, hey, look, you're not a good fit for my business. I'm sorry, and I'll just move on. So if someone doesn't pay on time, along with being a bad communicator, I'll let them go. If someone just doesn't pay on time, but they were a great communicator, they probably just forgot or they had something going on, that's fine. But if it's a constant situation every year, to where they just can't pay on time, I will let them go, because that is now requiring me to make calls or send reminder emails, which things I don't have time to do. Okay. This is an instant one that I won't even consider working for you. If I send you a price and you come back with saying, hey, you are the highest out of the 4, but I want to use you because of the value you bring. I've heard great things about you, your reputation. Can you come down? Absolutely not. I do not negotiate. If you ask me to negotiate, I'm not going to work for you. If you don't see you see the value in my company, but you're not willing to pay for the value that equals, to what my company's worth and the value that I bring, I can't work for you. I do not negotiate. That's for friends. That's for acquaintances. That's for leads, referrals. Because guys, this is for profits. This is for making money for your family. So, and I keep that in the back of my mind. Like, I'm doing this for my kids, my 4 kids, and my wife. Okay. And people who are asking me to come down on my prices, that's taking money away from my family. And I refuse to do that. And you have to think that way. All right. People who, when I get to a job, we've agreed on the scope of work, they have signed their estimate, they've approved it, which now has formed a contract. Now we're out on the job, and they come out, they look around, everything looks great. Oh, hey, can you hit that? No, ma'am. Or yes, ma'am, I can, but for X amount. And if they refuse to pay for that extra service, I'm not doing it. If they complain, say, look, the chemicals I'm using to clean this, the gas I'm using, the machine I'm using, those things are not free. So you're taking money out of my pocket for your own benefit. I don't do that. Okay. Now, if it's a $10,000 job or a $3,000 residential job and they want a little bench cleaned or a tiny little spot, sure. But in most instances, it's a house wash, driveway, something where I want to capitalize on every bit of that profit as I can. So if someone is trying to take that away and try to get a free service, because this is what happened, guys. This is what happens. You'll say yes to that one little free thing, and now you've started this chain reaction of, oh, since you hit this, can you hit this, young man? And it's usually the older people, or they're very wealthy, they're very entitled, and they just think they deserve all these free things. I don't do that. Okay, and look, I get it for you guys just getting started. you know, when you first get started, you have to kind of be a yes man. You're trying to build a reputation. You're trying to get people to call you back every year. You're trying to gain good clients, but that doesn't mean be a doormat. That doesn't mean let them walk all over you. Let them dictate your pricing. Let them, you know, do all these things because that's what they want. No, this is your business. This is your brand. These are your price points. These are your profits. This is your time, and you've got to protect those things. So if a company or if a customer gets in the way of my time constantly, gets in the way of money going into my business's bank account to be profitable, which is also impacting my family, you cannot be a customer for Iron City Power Washing, okay? And you have to think that way, all right? You're doing this for your loved ones, okay? Yes, you're trying to please people who are your clients, but if they are difficult, if they are a headache, if they're stealing your time and they're stealing your profits, don't work for them, okay? And again, this is for you veteran washers. You know, you can be more selective on your book of business. Most of our calls are referrals, you know, or, you know, it's really not price shoppers. Most price shoppers are not going to make it in my book of business, okay? Most of the people who we work for, I either know, they're a referral, they're a hot lead, it's, you know, so-and-so gave me your number, and at that point, they have already heard about us, they've seen our work, and I can price, and I'm a fair pricer. I'm not just going to say, oh, you know, we already got this person on the hook, I'm going to charge a lot of money. I don't do that. I'm fair, okay? But fair means, you know, net profits that make sense for our operation. Like, we are a bigger operation than a lot of the newer guys around here, okay? So we're going to be more expensive, okay? And if people can't realize that, and they're trying to compare my price to a college kid, a high school kid, a fireman who does it part-time, you know, then I can't work for you. And it's nothing personal. It's all business. But I want to wake up every morning as a business owner and look at my schedule and be excited about the customers I go and service, okay? And I want you guys to do the same thing. Scott Lett, Iron City Power Washing.